The results are in for so far. I am a very impatient guy, so I could leave this for a week and then count the votes. But I noticed that usually people watch it within a day or two, sort of, and then then some people watch it still. At least the building videos, usually not something that is, a black screen with only System A, System B in it. And usually they don't read the description at all, so they have no clue what it is, usually. So, but the results are in. A lot of people voted through YouTube. Sorry, I have to have some gas. And a lot of people voted into the Facebook groups I am in. And well, yeah, let's reveal the systems for once. And I only have a picture because the system left the building. And this is System A. It is the cobbled together 2 times 12-inch super duper mega cheap woofers in the crappy baffle. And the neodymium tweeter thing, which is not it's not the best picture of it because it looks like it's all wrinkly and crappy here, but it's not that bad, I can assure you. System B was the Case Project speakers, and it is a hybrid, so it is planar magnetic mid-range and treble, or tweeter, and the bass is a Tangband W5 something something ported as well. So yeah, it reaches rather low. But here you have a huge panel that does mid-range and treble, compared to this one. Tiny panel, a very tiny panel, and it struggles to get low enough, and as well the woofers struggle to get high enough. And this kind of explains what people heard. And that brings me to, if this test is any valid, well, it's never gonna be completely valid, but it does show that you can hear differences and are correct even, because it was a joy to read so many comments that are kind of spot on what was happening actually. So this is the frequency response, and can I swap this over because it's brown is System A, the open baffle with the told by so many people has more definition in the high end. As you can see here, it reaches a bit, well, way higher, and as well way louder. And then the purple one with the downward slope is the Case Project, so the hybrid. And it's crossed around, I think 300 or something from the base to the mid-range panel. So the mid-range plays down to, I don't know, 100 or something, and then it drops off naturally as well. But it's yeah, it's kind of dwarfed by the bass woofer, the Tangband. So these are the responses, and let's see what people commented and see how well that kind of correlates to what we see here. First of all, I can say speaker B or System B won. So this system won in the voting, and the most prominent, I think, is that people say it is easy to listen to. But let's go to the comments, and I just copied them in this sheet, which is kind of messy and looks crappy and so small I can hardly read it. Can I enlarge this a bit because I'm almost blind by the looks of it? Ah, better. People can read along as well. What more do you want? So I only put comments in here that had any explanation except for this one. Where we can work with or see what happened and if it's correct. If people just said, I like B, then I didn't put them in here because it's not that much of interest. It is for the voting, but not so much to see if people are kind of correct as well. So Lars Ostman or I don't know. I'm gonna pronounce every name wrong, so don't forget. I do too like B better, but I miss low mid from A. So if we're gonna look at A, yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to say low mid. I'm not sure at what frequency band that should be. Low mid, is it around here, or is this high low? I don't know actually, but it could as well be here. If so, then it is actually the same volume as the other one, but because it is flanked by a rather increase here and a top end that is straight compared to a top end that drops off, it does feel like there is information missing here in setup A. Although it isn't. Well, it is a tiny bit, but I think it is missing a bit here, but it's more pronounced because this is quite loud and it's flanked by quite loud bands. So it kind of gets, how do you call it? I can't find the word. They use it in MP3 decoding as well. But it's on the edge of my... Well, let's move on. So, well, it actually is kind of... I think what he meant is kind of true, but you might disagree. But let me know. Ki Dang loves... says that B has too much bass. I don't think you can compare the two because they have completely different frequency profiles. Well, it was kind of the idea that they had. So, so we could see what the differences were. If I was making almost exactly the same curves, if I could even, because if it was that easy, everyone did it, but then there wasn't much to compare, I think. These are quite completely different systems that is fun to compare. I think, you know, like big changes. If I swap speakers, I want that. I don't want a tiny, mini bit of difference, because I might as well could leave the old set in the room, you know. But he says too much low end on B. Well, as you can see, it does have a little bit more low end than System A. System A has some more, I'm not sure if you can call it upper bass or lower mid range, I don't know. It has that more, but it doesn't have more bass, and it doesn't go low as System B either. But this low mid or high bass, I don't know, we'll come back to that. Alex Larson says B sounds more clear. That's funny, that's the first, I think. But it is like one voice is missing compared to A. Low mid or extra singer's low voice is missing. Sounds like that on my phone. That's kind of insane that he sounds like that on his phone. Well, I'm gonna show you I'm gonna show you a clip where it's quite clear what he meant, especially with the other voice, because there are some pieces that it has double voice. Now, I'm not sure if she redid the whole thing and then doubled it, or just used the delay and some effects. I don't know, but you can hear it here. So we're gonna listen to System B first.
We vlogen onder de witte wolken over land na land heen. De korte dagen werden langer en ik landde rustig en in je handen. We vlogen onder de witte wolken over land na land heen. De korte dagen werden langer en ik landde
Especially here, there is a double, double voice. Let's hear it on the System A.
De korte dagen werden langer en ik landde. De korte dagen werden langer en ik landde.
Once more, System
We
A.
vlogen onder de witte wolken over land naar land heen. De korte dagen werden langer en ik landde. De korte dagen werden langer en ik landde.
That was System B. And, well, to me at least, it does sound like System A. You can hear more clearly a double voice. This might be the reason that there is more high frequencies, that's one. And also, because this hump in this region here, compared to this on System B, although most people think System B sounds more balanced, I think that these pronounced vocals or something, two vocals at the same time, is more, you can hear them more clearly with this hump here than this response, by the looks of it. At least what he stated here, I had kind of the same feeling when I was A-Bing it myself for fun and giggles. So yeah, funny. Maybe more people agree, I don't know, maybe disagree. Let me know, post it. Okay, Nicholas Davalibi. Oh, that's gonna be completely wrong. I'll just play for the heck of it. System B sounds fuller. Probably a slight hump in the 300 to 700 region, or a downward slope overall. About the fullness, it depends, I think, on which piece. I mean, on this vocals, A sounded suddenly fuller, but it's probably because there's more information in the vocals around this region. With other sounds, it sounded like B was more fuller, to my opinion. Or a downward slope overall, which is exactly true. It has a downward slope, quite clearly, definitely compared to System A. So again, it is quite correct. He said, oh, this is also nice. System A sounded too bright. Probably some would say more details, and this is the case. Usually people say it has more details because it just has a little bit more high end. But yeah, but I found it to be tiring, and this is also true. It is kind of the same response I got with the full range loudspeakers. They have this kind of same trend, like downward slope, and people really, as long as there's still like siblings and funny tiny sounds in the upper range, like tweeter range, then it's fine. But the downward slope is kind of a favorite for many people, so you can listen quite endlessly without getting, you know, like system overflow. Because with this speaker A, with this response, it sounds rather impressive with all the tiny sounds and such, especially, you know, like ambient sounds. It sounds like whoa, but you will get sick of it. At least some people do, or a lot of people do. So it's funny he mentioned it, because it is actually true. It has a downward slope, and it is more tiring on System A compared to B. So yeah. Anders Hansen voted also for B. It's almost all B, by the way. Allow me to revise that. Yeah, he voted for A, but now he's voting for B, so I didn't count the first A. I had a second listen through my hi-fi setup, and now I prefer B. It is just more neutral of the two options. A bit tricky to do a test with music that... He likes B, and he thinks it's a bit tricky to do a test with music he never heard before on another system. And that's true, of course. Byron Cooter. Ooh. My B for sure. Half the sound was dropped on A. The vocals are more pronounced on B with total clarity. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. It is more balanced for sure. And I think less aggressive in the high frequencies. So yeah, I can understand that. Stefana likes A. Attila Balog, and he makes planar magnetics as well, I believe. He chooses B, and he says it sounds more like a full range magnet planar. A sounds like the hybrid with baffled low end on them as well, as I can hear from my crappy headphone. Well, as we've seen on the picture, he's kind of right. A is indeed a baffled hybrid, but on the other hand, this one is actually the more annoying hybrid. I mean, in the closed box and a dipole on top of it. But what he says about sounds more like a planar magnetic, I believe, is because it also does the mid-range down to 300 Hertz. So what you hear mostly is indeed the planar magnetic instead of here, where you hear mostly the woofer and the planar magnetic. So again, quite spot on, I think. Piet van Eerbeek, he prefers B. Sounds way more cleaner. The voice from the singer is very nice on System B. Love that sound. Thad Pizer, System B, no contest. So much more sweet detail and agile. System A seems filed and sluggish in comparison. I love the song, by the way, playing this in a loop on Spotify. Very nice. Especially, he doesn't sound Dutch to me, so it's a wonder that he likes it, because, you know, Dutch is not the most beautiful language in general. T-Boitel. System A suits me better. I think it displays her voice much more vividly compared to B. Almost mono-sounding voice. A might, however, sound a bit mushier in the mids and lows. Well, yeah, I don't know about the mono thing. Yeah, usually most stereo material like soundstage is in the upper frequency department. So yeah, because the System A is a little bit brighter, it does sound a little bit more spacious. So that's again kind of spot on, I think. Hank V. B is missing some definition on the higher frequencies. However, seems like something you could spend time with listening many hours. Again, this thing that it's not a tiring sound, the downward slope. So already 3 or 4 people that said that, so that's kind of funny. Fixed tune all. System A sounds better for my taste. As I noticed, it seems to have better details in the highs and present the vocals more in a clear way. Also, I think the low end is much stronger, but could be depending on the parts played by A. Yeah, it's funny. Some people say B has more low end, and if you look at the measurement, it kind of does. But in the recording, I don't really get that. But might be me. Let's see in. Okay. This is System A. System B. What I hear, at least, is that System A has more pronounced low end, but it's not as low as B. That's what I hear here. So if I look at this, I probably hear this part on A. That's not actually low end. But with B, you get this as well. I don't know. It is just like bookshelf speakers that go down to 65 hertz only, but have a hump around that frequency. So it's sort of not truly go low or have loads of bass, but it does feel like it. That's a bit the difference I feel. But yeah, cannot really draw conclusions from that one because it's quite hard to measure in room as well. Let's see. Dimga. I used a translator because he posted in Russian. He likes a B, and because more balanced. And then we had a few A's as well. But in the end, it's 15 votes for B and 5 only for A. Oh, poor system. So, conclusion, I don't want to draw any conclusions because, well, I think I can say this: people like a downward slope. It's not as revealing, but what I think it should be a combination of both. That sounds maybe boring, but here where A peaks, B kind of lags. So that would be nice to extend this a little bit. The low end downwards in B is better than in A. The top end of B is better, I think, or sorry, of A is better than in B, but must be way lower volume to create a tiny bit of downward slope, but not as much as B, I think. But the biggest difference is in the low end department. Some people said the low end of the open bevel sounded floppy or distorted or something. And actually, that's funny because it's the other way around. If you look at the closed woofer or the ported woofer, system, this is the distortion, and you can see that the planar magnetic is playing and playing and playing it, and it's crossed at 300 or something. And then the distortion rises and rises and rises and rises. And this is actually the part where the woofer is playing. So it's funny to see that planar woofer. And here, of course, where it is still rising, it is planar magnetic and woofer. Then if you look at system B, A, although the woofers are the cheapest woofers I could find, the planar, then a little rise, and I think that's the end of the tweeter where it shouldn't play actually, but I explained that the tweeter and the woofer don't mate very well. Either the tweeter needs to be bigger or the woofer has to be smaller and reach higher to make it perfect actually. So you can see there is some distortion here because they're both, or at least the tweeter is playing on its toes, so to speak. But the distortion doesn't rise as high as this other system, the tank band. And it's quite a difference as well, I think. So yeah. That's it for these, I think. Then there were some questions or suggestions, really, to do the measure or the A/B testing differently. Now, now I swap within a song from A to B. People asked if I could make 10 seconds of music on E, system A, and then change it over to B. The reason I chose this is because auditory memory isn't that good, and I wonder if you forget how it actually sounded 10 seconds ago. In this method, you hear it change, you know. So for instance, this piece, Mute this. Up.
Van je pen. We komen neer en beland. We komen.
You can hear a tiny bit shift as well, by the way, and you can hear that here quite clearly. A has some more, or B has some more body, and then it kind of disappears in this one. That's at least how I perceive it right now. But I'm not sure if you could easily get this same result if you would play 10 seconds of music, then go back and do it again with the other setup. I think big differences, of course, you will notice, but tiny things are gonna be harder, I think, to hear. But we could try that. That's for sure. Why not? Yeah, I think that's it. I would like to make, well, if people are interested, I could make more of this kind of stuff for a change, but do it a little bit more consistent in volume gain and distance and etc. etc. Maybe add some more acoustic crap in my room, because I never sit there anyway, so to make it a more interesting thing to do. Could also be with existing drivers or whatever, I don't know. Except I don't have money to buy all these drivers, so no clue yet how to do that, but we'll see. But it's nice to hear if people like this kind of stuff and if it's funny. And if you have any comments or add-ons or whatever, please leave them in the comments below. And yeah, you could subscribe, but you probably are already or don't care. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.